This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. And we have with us Lawrence Udeigwe. He is a mathematician and also a jazz musician. How are you, Lawrence?
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for having me. I'm doing well.
So is that a correct characterization? Is that jazz? It's a beautiful album, the Four Lemmas.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
So could you explain to us what the Four Lemmas mean?
Okay. So maybe I'll give a little bit of a background of who I
Yeah,
am, and that will
yeah,
help segue into what the album is all about. I'm a
yes.
mathematician and a musician,
Mhm.
as you correctly said. And Four Lemmas is an album centered around four mathematical structures. You can think of it as four mathematical um, concepts. But I used those four mathematical concepts to explain ideas, emotional ideas that we deal with. In my own case, I've dealt with these ideas in trying to answer the question of who I am. Um, an open question of who I am, a question that I think I'll continue to answer for the rest of my life. And
Mhm.
I believe that this album would be a tool, even though it's an artistic product, it would be a tool for anybody who listens to it to also begin to think of these questions. Yeah, and the four concepts I'm talking about is orthogonality, which I use to describe the idea of independence without distortion; sparsity, which I use to describe the idea of having clarity in whatever you do; local maximum, which I use to capture the idea of being able to be at the peak and knowing that and still knowing that that peak might be temporary, that you're still climbing. And then the concept of stable equilibrium, which I use to capture the idea of being able to return to your center, being able to be stable whenever you're perturbed. Yeah.
How long have you been a mathematician and where you're still a mathematician, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
are you a professor? Do you teach?
Yes, I'm a professor at Manhattan University.
Okay.
So how long have I been a mathematician? Since I was born. You know, I feel like we're all born mathematicians. But as a practicing mathematician, a practitioner, I became an assistant professor of mathematics at Manhattan University in 2014.
Mhm.
Right now, I'm a full professor of mathematics at Manhattan University. Before then, I did my PhD at the University of Pittsburgh. And before the University of Pittsburgh, I did an undergraduate degree in mathematics and computer science at Duquesne University, also in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, when did you start viewing mathematics as a language?
Oh, that's a really good question. Okay. It's something I have thought about for a really long time, but I never had the correct medium to do it. I've always been a musician and a mathematician. I formed my first band when I was in grad school in 2008. And since then, I've been thinking of, hey, I have these two wonderful tools, and I occupy these two worlds. But at the same time, there is tension between both of them because people don't usually expect a mathematician to be a practicing musician. People
Mhm.
are not surprised when a mathematician plays an instrument or
Mhm.
understands music. But if you want to become an artist or an entertainer, it's rarely done, you know. But I just don't want to talk about the theoretical aspect of music. I want to perform, right? So I kept a divide between the two worlds. I kept my music side, my musical world to one side, and I kept my what would I call it? My mathematical world to one side.
Mhm.
And but what that allowed me to do is to let both of them develop at their own pace in their own true form, waiting for me for when I'm bold enough to merge the two words. And when I became bold enough was towards my tenure when when I was trying to apply for tenure in year 2000. And after I submitted my tenure packet, I listed everything I did and I realized that, oh, I did not include the musical aspect, right?
Mhm.
So I put it in there because I realized my music should be part of my scholarship. So that it was around 2020 that I started thinking, okay, this music should be part of my scholarship. And it became quite easy for me to merge both of them because math is a language for a lot of things. People don't see math for many things, but people don't rarely see math as a language for art or as a language, as a medium in which art can be transmitted. For me, having gotten training in the two fields for the longest time, it was quite natural and easy for me to do it because when I do mathematics, when I see a theorem and I read a theorem, I quickly relate it to something in the arts, something in nature. So it was quite easy for me to do. Yeah. So it's been, to answer your question, to make it really short, it's been a while that it's been brewing. It's been organizing itself. Both of them have been organizing themselves. But it's been only 6 years that I started doing them formally, trying to use math as a language in the formal sense. Yeah.
What is that practice, using listening with the color, and it starts with an S. That word,
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot. I can't pronounce it right now. I'll look it up.
Since something, so it's
Yeah,
SN or something.
yeah, send, I can't.
Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah,
Sennetsism or
yeah.
something.
My
Yes,
memory is bad. Let me.
it's
Yeah.
at the tip of my tongue. But however, it seems as if you're using math in the same way to merge it with the music.
Yes, you might. I don't know if because that concept that you're thinking about, that you're talking about, that we can't quite come up with the name for it again. I can't
Yes,
remember the name. I'll look it up and then I'll give it to you. I'll
yes, yes.
post it on the show
I'm
notes.
looking. Yeah, I'm looking for it now. So
Okay,
yes,
okay, yeah. So I feel like that comes naturally, you
uh,
know, and it can also be trained, even though it comes naturally. But in my own case, I just feel like having mine came from training, you
mhm,
know. So it might be natural. Maybe I'm giving myself less credit than I deserve. But I feel like it's just because I trained myself in the two fields. I practice my piano every day.
mhm.
Um, I practice the skills, I practice my singing, and then I do mathematics every day. So both of them just started coming together naturally.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but I feel like it would be a leap to take it to that level of seeing colors in musical chords or musical notes. Yeah.
Yes, 'cause for instance, let's say you work on a theorem. Let's say you look at the Pythagorean theorem. That's the most basic. So
Yeah.
what would you apply to that? What aspect of human living or life, and maybe what aspect of music?
Oh. Wow, I like your questions because they challenge me on the spot. So the Pythagorean theorem, it says if you have a right angle triangle, right,
Uh-huh.
and the sum of the squares of the hypotenuse
Yes,
and the adjacent is equal to the sum of the square of the opposite, sorry, and the adjacent is equal to sum of the square of the hypotenuse.
yes.
So one way I could look at it is that, well, sometimes it takes you long to get to cover a distance. Meanwhile, some other times it takes you a shorter time to cover the same distance. So if the I don't know if the viewers can see me. Can I use my hands to
Yeah,
do
yeah, yes,
certain
yes.
things?
Actually,
Okay,
yes.
so this is the adjacent,
Yes,
and
yes,
this is the opposite, and
yes,
that's the adjacent, and that's the hypotenuse.
yes.
All right. Assuming we're going from point A over here to point B over here, I could go directly from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm,
Meanwhile, it might take you a while to go from point A to point C here
mm-hmm,
and then to point B.
mm-hmm,
But now I would go ahead and start describing or start trying to figure out some emotional qualities or some emotional properties or some emotional narrative that is associated with the squares of the distances. The
mm-hmm,
point is that we're going from the same place. It might take you shorter, but at the same time, or it might take me shorter and it might take you longer. But if we unfold the squaring that is going on, we could get some emotional attributes, that might start to describe qualities of your personal narrative, that is different from mine or that equates to mine and makes things balance out. So that's one quick way. So a quick way of taking on the challenge that you've thrown at me. And why I like that is that it's art. It's art. It's not, I'm not trying to come up with a manifesto, a
mm-hmm,
thesis, but sometimes science and philosophizing and
mm-hmm,
philosophy of the mind starts with art. It starts with uh, playing, playing around, and then we start seeing structure, and then we start developing a language for explaining things that are very serious, you know. Yeah,
it's almost like you're describing how you're connecting music with mathematics with humanity. That seems like
exactly.
your those three points of the
Of the right
triangle.
angle triangle. Yeah,
Yes, and
yeah.
that they're connecting, and it takes a little while, but they will connect.
Exactly. So that's where you can see that's one way of doing it. And I give myself the freedom, and I want any other person trying to do this to also have that freedom of explaining it in their own different way, of even writing it up in their own different way. Because we need languages, we need tools for communications. And those tools, sometimes those tools for communication, they just don't remain as tools for communication. Like there are a bunch of things that come from mathematics that we use casually every day, like we said, the common denominator between two things. And
Yes.
everybody understand what a common denominator is. That comes from mathematics. So why can't we explore things more? Why can't we go explore that field a little bit more? For instance, it's quite easy for musicians, for artists to use love as a language, to
Yes.
use emotion as a love as a romance as a language, because it's very universal,
Mm,
right?
mm,
But some artists they make a leap and they start using other things, like they could talk about money. And everybody understand money. They might even talk about going to the court. People understand the court. Why can't physicists, mathematicians, scientists use things in their world and make it and create constructs that people can relate to, and thereby relating to those concepts and constructs they've created, start making their practice more amenable to what everybody is doing. Because sometimes you tell people, I'm a mathematician, and they run away from you. They say, "Oh, all I can do is add." You talk about me, you're a physicist. They're like, "Oh, no, 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 I don't want to talk about that. It's just too, I failed physics in high school." But what I'm trying to do is bring things from my field as a mathematician, put it in the form of art, not as a gimmick, not gimmick at all, but to use it as a language, as you said, a language in describing emotion. Everybody has emotions. So that's I'm really happy that you're actually relating and asking me certain questions that I haven't even thought about. Thank you. Yeah.
no, thank you. So when you're writing the music, are you thinking about explaining what you're seeking, or are you trying to explain what other people are seeking, or do you bring it together in a way?
Very good. Just like I talked about how musicians they write about romance.
Mhm.
Sometimes the easiest way to write ab to not sometimes, always, the easiest way to approach art, I believe, is the most honest way, to be as honest as possible. And the most honest way is to be personal because you can't lie to yourself and you have all the tools available to you. You're not going anywhere to do like a field work and collect questionnaires from people.
Mhm.
So I start from myself. I start from my experience because I believe I'm a human being and my experience is universal. So for instance, orthogonality. What orthogonality? Let me start with the concept of orthogonality, the mathematical concept. It just means the easiest way of talking about it is perpendicular. You have two lines that are perpendicular. If you have two lines that are perpendicular, those two lines are orthogonal in mathematics, as opposed to being parallel. But in mathematics, one thing when we say something is parallel could mean we're like this, but it could also mean we're aligned together. So I use the concept of orthogonality to mean not being aligned, right? What I'm trying to say is that one way of approaching what I've written about in the song Orthogonality is that we don't have to be aligned to agree, right? We don't have to align to coexist. You can go your own way and do your thing and give me the freedom to go my own way. You can go east west and I can go northeast, and you achieve what you're achieving and I achieve what I'm achieving, right? Because sometimes we feel like love means alignment. It doesn't. Right? Because alignment creates erasure. It creates an erasure of identity,
Mhm.
right? And we need to maintain our two identities in order to coexist, be it in a romantic relationship, be it in other relationships, sometimes even in a family relationship. Everybody wants to uphold a family legacy, a family name, or a family profession, but somebody just comes in and says, hey, this is my identity. I'm not able to do that. So I use the concept of orthogonality to explain that. And for listeners, if you want to hear more about it, listen to the album. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I have the album, and then I also listen to it on YouTube too when I don't have the player. But it's
Thank you.
such a beautiful album. So when uh, you sing well, and then you have the poetry. So uh, there's how did you work with the lyrics first or the music first? Which came first, or did it have to come together?
Very good. Usually when I write my other albums that I had released, I always did music first. But in this album, for some reason, the lyrics came in first, and it came in the form of poetry. I'm not a poet, so I just kept writing. I'm not a poet, but when it came to things with math, I have words. I can write about math for as long as possible. So I wrote a bunch, and then I now left it to the side and started creating music, knowing the kind of a mood that I want to use to convey this poetry. And then I started to work on putting the poetry as lyrics to the music.
Mhm.
But when I started doing that, I realized that the poetry was just a lot. The words were just too many. I didn't want to waste all of them. I didn't want to waste any of them. So I took the ones that would fit in the music. I made them musical, and the remaining, I spoke them. I just did them as spoken word. And I was pleased with how it came out, I have to say.
Did
Yeah.
you ever do a spoken word before? It seems as if you're so comfortable in doing it, but maybe you were just speaking your comfortable mathematics language.
You're right. You're very right. It's spoken word is not something I do that much. I play the piano whenever I perform, and I focus on singing and playing. There's one song in particular that I usually do spoken word on. It's Wayne Shorter's Footprint. So I play the piano, and then I give room for spoken word, and then I let my trumpet play a solo over it. And the spoken word, it's usually freestyled on stage, So it's not something I do that much. But and now thinking about it, there's actually a song in my previous album the song is called Rhythm and Life, and I did spoken word. Um, but it's not something I wouldn't call myself a spoken word artist. But for this album, that was the tool I had to convey my message, and I grabbed onto it. Yeah.
What what do your students think? Do they know what you're doing?
Oh my gosh, you ask you you ask it's almost like you've been living in my life and you know the things that I had worried about. So interesting enough, as I mentioned before, I tried to keep the two parts of me, the two practices, different, apart, keep them apart, and not merge both of them. And I started teaching at Manhattan University in 2014, and I had some music on YouTube. And I think around 2015, 2016, a student of mine, I came to the classroom, and a student of mine had one of my music videos just playing. And I didn't know what to say. Some of the students were confused. Some of them said, "Is that you?" And then what I say, the answer that came to me at the moment was, "No, it's not me. It's my brother," or something like that. And I said, "Oh, okay," And then as time went on, they did because back then I wasn't using my name Udigwe. I was using a different. I had a different name. I had like a formulated version of my name that I had been using for the longest time, Lawrence Chuno. Chuno is my middle name, and Lawrence was spelled instead of Lawrence, it's spelled Lorens.
Oh,
So it looked like a totally different name, Lawrence Chuno, and and I quickly told them, oh, let's go back, let's go. We're here for math, not for music. Please turn that thing off, and they turned it off. But that had sown the seed among the students. And some of them caught that I was actually lying to them. So they went around showing the music video around the university. And by the time I got tenure, I was tenured. I said to myself, why am I what's wrong with me? Why am I hiding this part of me? I have to come up to everybody about it. So I started making it part of my my scholarship, start thinking about it as part of my scholarship. And I changed my stage name from Lawrence Chuno to just my last name, Udigwe, or Lawrence Udeigwe. So I became open, and my most of my students, they know about it, and they have their favorite songs. You know, I have a student, well, there's a song of mine called Do. It's called Do. It's like a very, the kids would call it swagalicious kind of song. It's a song about swagger. So a part of it says, dope swagger. I ain't even trying. So it means I got what I got. I don't try to do it. And I had this student, whenever he turns in his script, his paper,
yes.
in my class, he writes something from my lyrics to to convey to me how he felt about the test, right? And the first test he did really well. He wrote dope swagger. I ain't even trying. And he wrote A. So the next one, he wrote weak swagger. I was trying the whole time. I was trying the whole time. So yeah, it's fun. So to answer your question, my students, they know about it, and it has really improved it has really not improved, enhanced the rapport between me and my students because sometimes they don't know what else to talk about, and we talk about music. Since they know I like music, they talk about the kind of music they like about. On the other hand, it has caused certain disappointment among some students who think that, oh, you're a musician. Like they think, oh, he's a musician and he's cool, so his class must be all fun, you know. But when they come in after the first test, they get humbled and then they realize that we are still here for mathematics, not music. So the math comes first and music is outside of the classroom. So it's a fun, I kind of like my teaching life, you know, the fact that I have music. Yeah.
Well, you must have been a very good teacher in order for that student to like you so much to go and seek you out and find you under an assumed name. So that student is must been like a must have been one of your very good students to have found you
Ye-
like that.
Yes. And um if I may say so myself, I get good evaluations. I get I for a math professor, so I'm happy. I'm happy about my course evaluations. When I see this, when the students bring back the evaluation, I'm happy about it. And it reflects in the way, the kind of rapport I have with the students also. Um, they just see me as a cool professor, and I've sometimes I try to fight that perception of me because I wanted to be more serious so that they would take me more seriously. But I don't fight it anymore. It's just it's just who I am. I can speak their language, you know, because I even though I'm a jazz musician, I listen to hip hop, I listen to R&B, I listen to I listen to pop, you know, so I can talk about the kind of music they listen to, and that's one way that brings me closer to them in a way because I can talk about their favorite artist. I can come to the class and say, what did young Jeezy do today? What did Drake say about Kanye or something like that? And they're like, whoa, so you know about that? I say, yeah, yeah, I know about it. Yeah.
Uh, so when you teach your class, do you sometimes like maybe use music to explain a concept to them that is hard for them to understand?
It's interesting because I teach in a university, you know, so
Yes.
the students are older. One of my goals in this world, I don't know if I'll ever achieve it anymore, is to teach elementary school. I've never had the opportunity to teach elementary school. But if I taught elementary school, I'll probably put everything to music. I'll probably find a way to use music for everything. But for the kind of students I teach and the level of mathematics I teach calculus from calculus and above, you know. You can't do that much. You can't do a lot about, you can't put a lot of music into things. And the students I teach are also serious students. Some of them are good. A lot of them are good at what they do, mostly engineering students and then pure math students. Yeah, but the one thing that I have I have succeeded in doing is in making them understand that math doesn't have to stay with you. You can use math even if you math is good for engineering, of course, it's everywhere in engineering. But there is still a lot of math left to do whatever you want to do with it, you know. I'm using it for I use it for music as language for music. Use your math. Don't be afraid or don't be ashamed to use your math for whatever you want to use it to interpret. It's a solid tool. It's a strong tool. Sometimes it's difficult to handle, but the part that you have command of, use it in whatever way you want to use it. You know, and one thing I got interested in doing lately in the past 5 years is public communication of mathematics. So most of my classes, especially the upper level math courses, what I do at the end of the semester, I give them a project and I tell them to explain a math concept. explain this math concept to a very, very lay audience.
Mhm.
You know, for instance, in a real analysis class, real analysis is a senior level mathematics course. Get a theorem. A theorem, it could even be the Pythagoras theorem. It could be a simple theorem. Talk about the theorem, you know. In the last project, I made them talk about the theorem. I make them write a proof about the theorem, and then to let AI also write the proof, right? And then make a video, explain the theorem, explain what you've done, then compare it to AI, critique the AI's proof, and your audience should be a high school student or even lower, you know. And then I challenge them to present their work, their videos in such a way that it is enticing to this audience. And one way of making it enticing is put music behind it, you know, put inviting music behind it. So a lot of them they did it, and then at the end they really, really um came back to me and said, "Oh, at first we didn't understand where you were going, but after doing this project, it's kind of empowering to be able to explain what I do to people
Mhm.
in a language they appreciate, using a medium that they appreciate." Yeah. So to answer your question, it's difficult for me, the kind of courses I teach, to use music as a to teach it with jingles and all those things, but I still find a way to infuse my training, my artistic training, my artistic persona into teaching. Yeah.
Such as in that project that you assigned your students.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
What
that project that you assign your student to explain a concept uh, and then do a video and set it to music. You
exactly. Yes, yes,
and
yeah.
it must have been very frustrating, and they must have struggled very hard in the beginning.
You know, you know quite well. I have to, I have to tell you a story about it. The first time, um, because sometimes we assume a lot about our students. We assume a lot about the younger people. We think that they are very comfortable with all the tools, that all the new tools, they are comfortable with AIs, they accept AI, they are comfortable with Instagram and YouTube and all those things. But whenever I give these students this project, this kind of project, I realize that some of them, this is not their world. They'll tell me, I don't have an Instagram account. You want me to do a to do a long version of the video for YouTube and do a short one for Instagram? I don't even have an Instagram account. I don't put anything on YouTube. I don't have a YouTube account, you know. And then you start realizing some of their reasons. One of the students, he told me plainly, I don't use AI. And I was impressed. I was shocked and impressed because I was under the impression that they all use AI to verify their homework, at least their homework. Like, I don't use AI. I'm against it. Ethically, I don't like it for now. To train this data consumes a lot of energy and all those things. So he started going off about this, you know. So I can't remember your question, but yeah, I think your question is where they find it difficult. Yes, the difficulty comes in bringing out that part of them that is public facing. That's one challenge they face. Another one is presentation. They now realize that they are technical people. They understand what they're doing in terms of the analytical part of it as engineers, as mathematicians, but communicating it to people becomes very difficult. So challenging them to use this tool, this very, very wonderful tool of mathematics, which gets complex sometimes, challenging them to explain it to other people, explain what you do to other people. That becomes one of the challenge. And most of them, as I said before, they come back and they tell me how empowering it is to be able to explain your concepts, difficult concepts, to somebody else who may not be in your field. And that is a powerful tool to have. You know, some of the most successful scientists are scientists who can actually communicate their ideas to the whole world, you know, to a wide audience, you know. And yeah, that's my answer.
Yes, a very good answer too. Thank you. it's kind of funny because it like you took so many years for your music world and your math world to merge so that you could actually enter into that presentation mode. Uh, and but yeah, you forced your students like in 1 month they had to do what you took years to do, and
Yeah,
and uh, and then they with your help a lot of them were able to uh, uh, get an epiphany about how different mediums and languages come together.
exactly, exactly. And yeah, you're talking about how long it took me. And I also learned something from that, like when um I was at an interview in Lagos, Nigeria, and they asked me, what advice would you give to younger people who want to be like you? I told them, well, first of all, I don't know why they want to be like me, but I think what you mean is people who want to do many things at once. Because the interviewer was looking at me as somebody who figured everything out, figured how to merge things, these two different words, how to package myself. And I told them, first of all, don't try to package yourself, right? Do many things that interest you. Try to do them very well, because you're being able to do that thing does not mean you to use it to do something important,
Mhm,
doesn't mean you have to be the best at it,
mhm,
right? Like I look at myself as a musician and a mathematician. I am not the best mathematician. People don't know my name as a mathematician. I am not the most successful musician. A lot of people don't know who I am. But to me, I'm the best mathematician who is also a musician. So my advice to them was just do many things and then let it organize itself.
mhm.
Because we as humans, our brain is self-organizing, you know.
Continuously organizing.
You say what?
The brain is continuously organizing.
Exactly. It's continuously organizing. And we live our life in that way too, right? We wake up early in the morning, we get breakfast, and then we go to work, and then we come back, and then we take a walk, and then maybe after a while we have children while we're still working. We don't think about organizing all these things. So just do things, let it be part of your life, and then gradually if you are still interested in all these things, they will self-organize themselves and come together in a way that they present you as a unique person who has something unique to offer the world. So, that is an answer to whatever question you asked me, but I think, yeah.
Well, I think that your answer to the reporter in Lagos, Nigeria, was simply put, learn, grow, and be happy.
I like that. I like that. Yes, yes, exactly. Learn, grow, and be happy. Exactly. And things will fall in place. Things
Mhm.
will fall in place. Yeah.
It seems as if you mentioned that you like rhythm and R&B, and then also hip hop, and then jazz, and then all these three mediums that fall together. Do you feel like these three mediums are more supportive to you're trying to explain mathematical concepts than let's say classical music?
Oh, I am not, I enjoy classical music, but I wasn't trained,
Mhm,
in classical music. I
mhm,
picked up the piano really late in life, late as a teenager, maybe 18, 19,
mhm.
That's late. That's very late. I mean,
In school, did you learn it in school, or
in
did you pick
college,
up?
yeah. I started playing in college. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Most of my friends, they started playing when they were two. I didn't play when I was two. I did mathematics at a very young age, loved it at a very young age, but not music. So I started with jazz, what I became interested in. So most people they start with classical and then they transition to jazz. So
Right.
I never had that, yeah, I never had that opportunity to really, really understand or really, really delve into classical music to the point that I can talk about it as much as I can talk about jazz.
Mhm.
And one thing with classical music, classical music doesn't leave much room for improvisation,
Right.
you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a different kind of outcome that's expected, a very disciplined outcome, which has its place in music. And that's why classical music is a good first step before you start because it gives you that discipline. But it doesn't give a lot of room. I might not be the right person to say this, but I'm going to say it. It doesn't give enough room for improvisation. And in that aspect, in that regard, I think jazz is a good medium for me to do what I'm doing because I need improvisation. I need space for interpretation. In as much as I'm using mathematics as a language, I want the art to still be there. I still want the emotion to be very interpretable, to
Mhm.
be to leave room for subjectivity of what I'm trying to do. So I don't have the tools of classical music to do it, what I'm doing, but I strongly believe that somebody else will be able to do what I'm doing using classical music. Yes, yeah.
I found that word that we were looking for. It's a synesthesia. So
Yeah,
have you
synesthesia,
ever
yeah.
have you ever even thought about the synesthesia as you write music or as you study math?
I haven't. I haven't. I have I have other weird things that I do or that I talk about, weird languages I use. But to talk about synesthesia, I've one person that has synesthesia that I really respect is Miriam Park. Her name is Parkland. Miriam Parkland. Yeah, she's a jazz pianist. I think she's passed on. Yeah. But I have never thought about seeing colors in sound.
Mhm.
Um, but there are other things I do that may seem kind of close to synesthesia, like I use math as a language. I use I use a lot of math concepts to describe things, that are that other people would not use those concepts for. And I totally believe the concept, the words and the concept, mathematical concept I use are really appropriate for those things. Like one day I came to we're talking about sequences, right? A sequence is a list of numbers,
Mhm.
right? Let's say 1, 5, 9, 13, and so forth. That's a list of numbers with pattern. Or we can talk about maybe 1/2, 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, 1/32, and so forth. All right. One of them, the first one, is a divergence sequence
Mhm.
because it keeps getting larger and larger. It doesn't converge to one number. The other one is a convergence sequence. It converges to zero, right? 1, 1/2, 1/4, 1/18, 1/16, 1/32, and so forth. And we also have that for series. Series is a sum of sequences. Some sum of sequences, they sum up to one number. Some others, they don't. Like 1, 1/2, 1/4, 1/16, 1/32. If you keep adding, it sums up to 2. Actually, there's a proof for it. It sums up to 2. So we have divergence series, convergence series.
Mhm.
Now, I ask my students, if you were a series, would you like to converge or would you like to diverge? So I come and hear the answers, and I noticed something. Some of the bright students I thought some of the I thought like the bright students or the really good student, they will choose, they will know that they will converge to, they will, I use the language, the word converge. They will all kind of pick a similar answer, you know. But I noticed that among the bright students, there's a divergence, you know.
Oh,
Some of them, I think half of them picked that they would like to converge. They would like to know who they become.
mhm,
And the others, they said, no, I would like to diverge,
mhm,
you know. And one of the students that likes to converge, she says, I asked her, why do you want to be a convergence sequence? She said, because I want to know where I'm going to. I want to go to medical school. I want to become I want to become a doctor. I want to converge. And another one, he's planning on going to grad school to study math and philosophy. He said, I want to be a divergence sequence. I want to fly around around the world. I don't want to be pinned down and things like that. So I use I use the language of mathematics in very interesting and weird way. Yeah, and I use like I don't want to, yeah, that's just a good example. I don't want to veer off too much. Yeah. So synesthesia, I don't have that gift.
mhm.
Maybe I haven't discovered it, but I have other gifts that I've made up along the way that I use. Yeah.
Well, what you're doing right now is actually it seems to me as a gift because
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
let's talk about another of your songs that orthogonality
Yeah.
you already spoke about. Let's find another one and talk about it and about the math behind it and the music.
Okay. Let's talk about sparse matrix,
Okay.
right? Or sparsity. All right, but the title of the song is Sparse Matrix, but the concept is sparsity. What does sparsity mean? Sparsity means not being dense,
Mhm.
right? It's sparsity, like being scattered, you know. And I'm going to talk about it in the cons in the framework of mathematics. Let's talk about a matrix. What is a matrix? A matrix is a rectangular array of numbers. And how is a matrix useful? A matrix is very useful because it captures data. It's a way of storing data. A matrix is, for instance, the pictures we see a collection of numbers, just a rectangular array of very tiny input of numbers.
Mhm.
Now, if you have this matrix of numbers, not all of them are useful, right? Some of them are not too useful. So some of them that are not too useful, they can be discarded, and the information that we want that matrix to capture will still be complete in a way. For
Oh,
instance, when we use a computer program to compress a file, like a picture or any file, what the file is doing is that it is throwing away some entries in that matrix, or it is using nearby entries to approximate those entries, right? So it's making them zero. So a matrix that has been compressed in that form, in which some of the entries have been thrown away, have been discarded or zeroed out, is called a sparse matrix. So
oh.
a sparse matrix is a matrix where a lot of the entries are zero, right? Meanwhile, it's zero, but it still contains the information it's supposed to contain. So I use that as an analogy to our cognition, consciousness, or the brain in general. We should be able to declutter our thinking, declutter our consciousness, yeah, declutter our existence, you know, things that we don't need, throw them away. You'll still be complete. You know, if you go to your closet and then there are a bunch of clothes that you'd never wear, you know, if you're able to get rid of them, you'll still be a complete person. There are thoughts. There is actually there's a an origin to this music. I am somebody that I cringe a lot when I remember past mistakes that I made. It could be like 20 years ago,
Mhm.
I'll cringe about it, I'll feel uncomfortable about it. And I started to fight it. And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to look at my consciousness as a matrix and I'm going to zero out
Yeah.
some of these thoughts
Mhm.
because I'll still be complete after zeroing them out. So that's where that's the analogy come from math, from matrices, past matrices, and I'm relating it to life, to consciousness, to existence, to identity, decluttering your identity, get rid of the things you don't need. You're still complete with without them. Yeah.
It seems to me that what you just described is what's behind forgiveness.
Ooh, I like that. Yes. Yes. Yes, it's part of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Forgiving, letting things go. Yes. That's powerful because it literally powerful. It actually makes you powerful because you're holding on to that grudge. Meanwhile, that grudge is just occupying a place. It's not helping you in any way. And when you let it go, you're clearer. You're still very complete without the grudge
Mhm.
because the grudge doesn't define you in any way. In some cases, it's actually pulling you down. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I like that.
So it's like the double-edged sword, just discarded.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. If our listeners want to learn more about you, Lawrence Udeigwe, and find the Four Lemmas, where should they go?
Okay, Four Lemmas, they can stream it on every platform that they listen to music. And my stage name is just my last name. It's Udigwe, Udeigwe. So if you just type in Udigwe, you'll find me. It's Udeigwe. And you can follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram. My handle is my full name, Lawrence Udeigwe. On Twitter, Lawrence Udeigwe also. And if you forget everything, if you Google me, you'll find, I think you'll find me and you'll find Four Lemmas. So Four Lemmas, four, Four, Lemmas, Lemmas. And let me just answer a question that they might have. What's a lemma? A lemma is just it's a small truth, a small fact, that helps you improving a bigger fact. So I use four lemmas as four little truths in my life, or four little truths in life that you can use to prove your overall identity. So that's what the album is all about. Yeah.
And what language is lemma?
It's English, but I don't think it started as English. I have to look I have to look that up actually. So you've given me a homework.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the first time I met the
Yeah.
word. Yes.
Yeah.
And FYI, when I Googled you, I first found Udeigwe, the mathematician, all over the place. I said, I'm looking for the musician. Finally, I realized both are one and the same.
It's the same person. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Lawrence Udeigwe, ma- uh, jazz musician, mathematician, and artist behind the Four Lemmas. I really enjoyed the album, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Yeah, this has been really, you unfolded a bunch of things that I wasn't thinking about. And thank you for doing that. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for all that you do. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right.